No, I'm not going to tell the story because you'd be embarrassed. Would you be embarrassed? Ooh, no. I'm going to be getting another unicorn. And so I have this guy to basically do whatever I want with. So he's going to be kind of my experiment model. I am going to try to basically completely redo his mane, and I'm going to do some other Dremel work. For example, here you can see these lumps on the leg, which I'm going to have to Dremel down. Also, I've made quite a few mistakes with this guy, and now I know about them and won't make those mistakes again. This ruined ear tip has been causing me a lot of trouble, but now I've just figured out how to make entirely new ears, and trying to glue a new ear tip on top hasn't really worked, so I'm probably going to just cut this ear off and make a new one. This is what this horse looks like after I finish dremeling. I sanded down some of the bumps that I pointed out earlier on its legs, and well, now I think I may have sanded down too far and they have little dips in them. That's not a problem because I'll just fill them with clay. I basically took off the entire mane and smoothed it down. I left this piece of plastic as a base to build my own mane onto, but I took off all the little details. I also took off the forelock. Yeah, there, now it's focusing. I took off the forelock and tried to sculpt a little bit of the head under it. It definitely doesn't look as good as this side, but that's okay because I'm planning to put a forelock back on there anyway. I just took it off partly so that when I remade the mane, the entire mane would be made by me, and partly because I wanted a thinner forelock than the one they had. I used glue and baking soda to give this guy a new ear tip in case of the one I chopped off, and I used the Dremel to smooth it out, and now I think it looks really good. So this is what the profile looks like now without the forelock. I think it looks pretty cool. And the profile for the other side. The thing I'm happiest about is that I took all the mane off that was laying on his neck, and I smoothed and sculpted the neck, and now I think it looks really good. It's super smooth, and I definitely think it looks a lot better to have one side of the neck just be clear and free from the mane. And see, here's the ridge where I'm going to put the mane. And I also, to guide me, I made a little mark here to show where the neck stopped and the mane started. That was the most difficult part because on the model, the mane covers so much of the neck that it's hard to tell where the neck stops and the mane begins, so kind of had to guess exactly how tall and what shape to make the neck. This is what my model looks like now. I painted him black, painted his hooves, gave him a white stripe, and a new forelock, and also a new mane. While I like the mane, I'm not super duper thrilled with it. Definitely don't think it's the best thing ever. However, I do think that it's the best I can do given my current skill level, and maybe when I get better at making manes, I'll take it off and redo it. But for now, it's the best I can do, so I'll leave it at that. So what I need to do now is I'm going to try to paint his eyes to look like an actual horse's eye, you know, brown with a black pupil, not pure black. I'll see how that works out. I may try giving him white markings, and I'll basically fix any other mistakes I may have made, and then he'll be finished.
Somehow, I lost all my footage in between the last clip I showed you and the next clip that I'm going to show you. I know I filmed a lot, but somehow, I guess I deleted it or something. So, I'm going to summarize everything I did during this time period where I lost the footage. This picture is the only piece of footage that I saved. I decided that I did not like that mane after all, so I tore it down and remade it a couple times before finding something I liked. I tried to make it, I did this 2 horse for Nemo Pamo 2020. That's when you do another horse in February as well as your official horse, but it didn't work out. I had a lot of trouble making the marking on the forehead, and I just didn't like the way he looked. So I stripped off the paint and decided to completely rethink what I was doing. I bent the right front leg so it kind of looked like he was charging. I also arched the neck and gave him a completely new mane. I actually gave him a completely new mane a couple times until I made one I was happy with. I also cut off the old tail and gave him a new one, partly because somehow the tail had gotten partly cut off, and no matter what I did, it wasn't really solidly on, and partly because the tail was just too thick for the new mane, so I wanted something else. I made lots and lots of different tails and didn't like any of them. Trying to sculpt the muscle on the leg that I changed was very tough, as was making it actually stay on and making it the right size and eliminating the cracks that showed between the clay and the plastic. I also solved my white issue. I discovered spray-on white primer, which completely solved the issue that I just couldn't get my horse the right color without completely eliminating the texture. So yeah, that's basically what I did for that horse during the months or maybe over a year where I lost all my footage, and now let's get back to the video.
So here we are. I've been working on this guy for a while, and I pretty much think I have the muscles in. I might want to add a bit more detail, but the thing is, I just don't really like the tail, especially from this side. It just looks kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, I think it's not bad or anything, but I really don't want to work on this guy for years, as I have been doing, and then always stare at him and think, oh, that's a weird tail. So I'm gonna have to take it off and try again. Finally, I like what he looks like. Yeah, I've done the leg muscle, so not like brilliant or anything, but it works. I've smoothed out pretty much all the areas. I'm gonna have to do another coating of Rust-Oleum primer stuff to see like exactly what I need to sand. But other than that, I'm happy. I love the pose. I love the mane. Finally, I have a tail that I like. Whee! Yeah, I absolutely adore his tail. I'm just so happy I didn't settle for a tail I didn't really like or a pose I didn't really like, because I absolutely love how this guy turned out. And yeah, I can't wait to have him all finished up, all the bumps sanded, and to have him be done. Yeah, so this horse is not perfect. You can see there are some black, dark spots that I didn't cover up because I'm going to give it a dark color anyway, so I don't really need to worry about making everything completely white. And, you know, there's still a couple lumps and stuff, but I don't think I can make it completely perfect, and I'm happy. Now, I need to decide what color to paint her. I'm leaning towards Rulo. What do you think?